Hello everyone and welcome back to another Stormworks tutorial. Now in this video we'll be showing you how to use new Lua block components in-game to write information to screens. Now yes, we'll go over all the basics that you need to know, show you exactly how to write a script to get your information to show on the screens themselves. We'll show you how to get it all connected up, and finally we'll obviously build an example like we usually do. Now, if you're enjoying these videos, comment below and we would also like to see any of my future videos. While you're there, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and click the little bell icon to be notified in my upcoming content as soon as it gets posted. So that all said, let's get straight into it and get started with the tutorial. So to get started, you can see we're back here in the workbench. Now you can see I've got a little bit of an example on the screen itself. We got the 4 different sizes of screens. Now the reason why we have the 4 different sizes of the screens placed down is we want to actually figure out what is the pixel size of each one of these screens. Now I'll show you how to do that in a couple seconds. Along with that, I've also placed down a battery and a constant on block, and we also have 2 different sensors. I think one is a compass sensor and one is also a time sensor. Now connection wise, what we've done is I've got the on signals to all the screens, so automatically they're always on. That's quite useful. Along with that, I've also connected the electricity up to the 2 sensors and also the 4 screens. Now to get started, the first thing we want to do is get the screen height and width. The reason why this is important, because obviously when we're putting our text on the screen, we want to specifically say where it's going to show on the screen itself. Now that's why we need to figure out what the size is. To figure out the size, what we're going to be doing is building a simple quick little microprocessor to do that. To do that, click on the microprocessor. You can see we have it here. I'm going to be calling it the, let's say, screen size. Cool. We're doing a symbol. Symbol will be, let's do a little like TV screen kind of thing. I'm not too sure. It doesn't look that great, but anyway, just so we can find it when we're looking through everything on our inventory. Along with that is we want to go over to our properties and to our logic and add our node. Now the only thing we need for this is a video output, so from the microprocessor into the screen and itself. Okay, so we're doing that. Obviously the screen will get its size in the processor and output in the processor itself, so we don't need to play around too much in there. Now, next thing we do is come into our logic. You can see we have our output just over here. We're then going to go down into the Lua, grab the Lua script and just connect the video output into the output of the microprocessor. Now, the next thing that we need to do is need to go into the script itself and start configuring everything. Now, I have explained these 2 different tabs in the last video, so if you haven't checked that out, please go check out the last video on this. We're going to kind of be ignoring a lot of things that are going on in here. The first thing we want to do is obviously quickly go and delete all the top of the stuff. We don't need it right now. The next thing we need to do is I want to get rid of the circle. We don't want to draw a circle, okay, on our example right here. However, the rest of the stuff we can keep. We will be using it. I'm just going to get rid of all this extra writing. We don't need it. It's just taking up space. Now, currently you can see the command that is on the screen at the moment is saying function on draw width equals screen get width and height equals screen get height. Okay, so that means that it's reading the screen width and height and it's outputting it as W or H. The next variable or the next script we have or line we have is going to be screen set color to green, RGB. Okay, red, green, blue. So green is currently fully on. The next thing we want to do is obviously output our width and height. Now to get that, we come back to our help. You can see here it says draw text at X and Y position. We're going to copy the script over here, or this line over across, and we're going to paste it twice. Obviously one for the width and one for the height. Now you can see here we have the text. This is what we're going to be replacing with W, and we're going to be replacing this with H. Okay, so it's going to take this value here and put it here, and it's going to take this value and put it here. The next thing we need to decide is where are we putting it on the screen itself. Now the whole purpose of doing this is to figure out what the size of the screen is. But just to give you a quick background, we obviously have the X-axis and the Y-axis. Y-axis starts at the top at 0 and goes all the way down to the bottom where it finishes. We then have the X-axis, which starts at 0 on the left and moves all the way across to finish off at a certain number. That's the whole point of this, to get that number out of the system. So the X-axis, we find we want both of them to start probably around 1, maybe 2. We'll see how it comes out. Y is where we want to be different. Now I'm going to just go with just right now, just with 5 and 15. So it's going to be 5 pixels down and 15 pixels down for these 2 different types. You can run it to check if there's any errors. However, there isn't. We can then go and click on done. we can then go and save it. So I'm going to save it as screen size. Okay, get it done, save it, close here, come back into here, and let's go and grab that microprocessor. You can see it's just over here. I'm going to place one down for each one of the screens because I want to get the size of each one of the screens just for you guys so you can see in this video. The next thing we need to do, all we need to do is connect the output from the microprocessor into the screen itself, and then we can spawn this in and see what happens. Hopefully we will get our number on screen. Yay, we got it on screen. Perfect. And you can see it's actually perfect. So you can see here 288 by 160. So 288 pixels by 160 pixels. Next we have 160 pixels by 90 pixels. That means that it's 0 all the way down to 90. And then from the left, 0 all the way across to 160. Same as the next one, 64 by 64 and 32 by 32. So that hopefully that straight away makes a little more sense on what pixels and where we need to put everything on screen. Now the next thing we need to do is click on return. Okay, we're going to then come down and start modifying these to actually start outputting values onto our screens. So like we're going to get these two sensors onto our screens to show. Now we'll be using the large one on screen for right now. All we need to do is go back into the microprocessor. What we want to do is start adding the nodes on. So you can see here we come back into our logic, and the first one we're going to do is let's do time is the input, and the next one we're going to do is let's go with, I think it's compass. Okay, perfect. So we have our two inputs of numbers that are coming in, and it's then going to be sending it to the screen. The next thing we want to do is obviously come and start configuring the logic inside here. So we have our inputs here, and we obviously need to convert those two numbers into a composite to get it to go on screen. To do that, what we want to do is we want to go and get the composite right, and we're going to be using the number 1 for this. Grab two of those, or sorry, one of them, and you can just put 2 on the channel count. And we can say, well, compass is going to be 1, and then time is going to be 2. It's then going to come out as a composite, go into the Lua script, and then come out as a video, and then go out to our screen itself. The next thing we need to do is go into the Lua Script Editor itself, and we need to start setting the first section, which is going to be the on tick. I'm going to copy this across here, and I'll show you why. It just makes life a little bit easier. We have everything there. We then just need to go and delete this part here, and you can see right now that we have in1 equals input get number 1 and in2 equals input get number 2. Now we remember that we said compass was the first one, so we got compass right there, and the second one was time. Okay, so perfect. It's reading the composite that's coming into the system, and then it's outputting it as compass and as time. Now, the next thing what we want to do is we can actually leave the screen draw text here at the moment. I will come back to that. And actually, no, we can use it right now. How about that? So we said in place of the width and the height, we are going to get the compass, okay, right here. Okay. And what we need to do is we actually need to put that into the little inverted brackets, or sorry, into the little speech bubble right there. So you can see it's gone green, which means it's writing as text. The next one we want to do is exactly the same, and we want to do it time. Okay, so you can see here pretty much what the script is running right now. It's saying, well, compass is equal to the number 1 that we're getting from the system. Time is equal to the number 2 that we're getting from the system. On the screen, get the width and the height. Doesn't really bother us too much right now. We're then setting the color to green. We're then writing compass on the screen, and we're then writing time on the screen. However, compass is being written at 5 pixels across, and then 15 is being written at that point. Detect if there's errors. No, there isn't. Press done. Spawn this in, or update it at least, and then make sure we connect all our extra logic. So compass is then going into the compass, and time is going to the time. And at the moment, we should have on screen a name called time and a name called compass. And there you go. You can see it says compass and it says time. We just need to add little things on there, little double dots. Okay, so let's go and do that. Along with that, we also need to go and actually add the time on afterwards. So let's go and put those on. Now to add the time, once again, very simple. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be drawing text. So I'm just going to copy and paste this again and just get rid of our speech bubble or our text bubble inside here. Okay, so we get rid of that and get rid of that. So we're saying that at position or pixel 1, to pixel 5, we want to write something, and same for the second one. However, we need to start changing these values. So we want it obviously still to be on line 5 and line 15 of our screen. However, we want it to come after the compass. So we need to play around with this a little bit to obviously make sure that it comes in the right spacing. So I'm just going to go with 10 for now, and then actually let's go with 15 now, and let's go with 10 in here. So hopefully 10 pixels will be enough to clear the time, and 15 pixels will be enough to clear the compass. We might have to change that. The next thing we want to do is obviously add in what we want to write. Now we want to be writing compass, which is called compass. So all we have to do is literally come into here and write compass. And then the next one we need to do is go and write time. Okay, cool. So we got those in. Check if there's any errors. No, there isn't. Great. Press done and update it again and spawn it and see how it looks on screen. Now you can see here. Okay, compass, that's still, yeah, that didn't come out right at all, and that didn't come out right at all. So we need to give it a lot more spacing after the text itself. So to do that, come back into the microprocessor, go into the Lua script. Let's say, well, instead of 15, let's use 35, and let's use 25 there, and see how that comes out. Okay, let's go ahead and spawn that in. Great. Let's see what we have. Oh, that looks much better. Compass is not great. It still needs to go a little bit more to the right, but the time is coming out perfectly. You can see there's a whole bunch of numbers coming after it. Obviously, we could clamp that number if we really wanted to. It's up to you. It's really up to you on that. You could also use some mathematical scripts if you want to. I'm not going to get into it in this video right now. It's really up to you on what you want to show in that screen. Okay, so let's go and fix that last little thing and get the compass a little bit more to the right so it clears that. So we can just come back down into the screen, go into the Lua script here, and let's say for the compass, we needed more space, so let's do 40. So go and write, oops. So let's go and write 40 over there. That should be fine. You can also, once again, guys, this is very basic, but you can obviously go and change the color if you want to, so we could make it blue. So along with that, you can also set the transparency by adding a fourth one in there. So you can do, once again, a 0 to 255. 255 being obviously not transparent at all, whereas 0 would be fully transparent and you couldn't see it. So let's set it to 175. It means you can actually see through there. However, we don't have anything in the background, so it's up to you if you want to use that or not, but it is, you can set a transparency at the end. Let's go and test that out again, spawn it in and see how it looks on screen. As you can hear, just coming here, and you can see it's now changed to blue. And perfect, we have our compass 0.5 and we have our time 0.5. Great, nice and easy. Obviously you guys can write whatever you want, but knowing where it shows on the screen is pretty much the hardest thing. It's then up to you on what you want to write on screen. But if you follow this tutorial, everything is here and the basics on what you need to do. As I said in previous videos, we will get a little bit more into detail, guys, in a future video and show you a little bit more tricks and techniques on what you can change, and we'll start using a couple of the other ones, showing you how to do circles and squares and all kinds of cool things on screen. But this is pretty much the basics. You can obviously keep on adding more and more and more and more and more on here, and add as many as you want on the left hand side and on the right hand side of the screen if you want to. So I think we'll go ahead and end today's video over there. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it and found it somewhat entertaining and informative as always, and we'll see you in the next one.